The man accused of murdering 4 University of Idaho students, Bryan Kohberger. He has hired a new attorney before his trial starts next month. Well, for more on that and other details of this case going forward, we're going to be joined right now by friend of the program and legal analyst Nicole DeBoard, and she joins us now. Nicole, good to see you. You and I last spoke about this case, and there were a lot of developments. This one in particular, I think, is interesting to a lot of people who have followed this so closely. We're just weeks away from this trial. At this very point in time, why do you think he would want to add a new defense attorney so close to the trial start date?
In this case, and it is always better to have an extra pair of eyes when it's possible on the defense team. And in this circumstance, it's a late addition, but it's probably a smart one. It's always good to have someone who can be looking over the evidence with you when you're confronting a mountain of evidence like this case presents.
Okay, let's talk about that new defense attorney. Her name is Elisa Massoth. She claims to be one of the top criminal defense lawyers in Idaho. Have you heard of her? Have you seen her work? What's her specialty?
I have not seen her work personally, but I have heard that her reputation is excellent. I've heard that she is certified to handle even cases that could result in the death penalty. So she is not going to be shy about opposing the might of the government, as other lawyers have said about her. And she is familiar with what to do to file the necessary motions to make sure that evidence that should not come into trial doesn't, and that evidence that should is admitted. So she is up to the task from all that I have heard about her reputation.
Okay, let's talk about what up to the task means. Do you think she came in to get the death penalty off the table? I mean, that's really what is, the kind of, how should I say, victory for someone like this. And all criminal defense attorneys, they want to get that off the table. They want to spare the defendant's life. Is that what's going on here?
That could be part of it. On the other hand, too, when someone is death penalty certified, they have some additional experience in handling cases where the death penalty could be an option. And this is critical because there are things that are different about a trial that involves seeking the death penalty. And those can include everything from the way evidence is introduced to types of evidence that are introduced, and ultimately to the instructions that a jury who will consider what to do in a case of this nature will decide. And so it is important to have somebody with that specialized expertise on your team if that is an option that the state is pursuing.
Okay, and to that effect, though, is the state trying to preempt what they see could be a lengthy appeals process with her coming into the mix here?
Well, it's anytime you have the death penalty on the table, you are going to be looking at a very expensive and lengthy appeals process. It is really a very difficult, if not impossible, thing for someone who has received the death penalty to just drop appeals, for example. There will be an appeal if that's what happens in this case, and it will be protracted, and it will go not only to state court, but ultimately up for federal court consideration at some point in a post-conviction process. So anytime the death penalty is on the table, it is impossible for the state to avoid a very costly and lengthy appellate battle if that is what is achieved.
Okay, and Nicole, we do know that Latah County Prosecutor Bill Thompson has asked for help from 2 assistant attorney generals there in Boise. Do you think that's a reason why Kohberger needed to bolster his own defense, that he might not have had confidence or he didn't trust who his court-appointed attorneys were throughout this?
I don't think that the addition of an additional attorney means that he doesn't have confidence in the lawyer that he has. It's a smart move. He's facing very serious punishment ramifications. And it's, again, with such a mountain of evidence that will undoubtedly be presented against him, very smart to have a team of lawyers as opposed to just one looking at the evidence, especially one with special death penalty training. So it doesn't mean necessarily that he's lost confidence in the lawyer that he already has. It is instead, I think, sort of a belt and suspenders move, if you will, to make sure that he is protected in every way that the Constitution permits in this circumstance.
Okay, so one of Elisa Massoth's previous cases involved a man on America's most wanted list. So can you kind of describe for us, for those who, want to get into the psyche of a criminal defense attorney, why do they take these cases? Is it for media attention? Is it because everyone deserves the right to be heard fairly in a trial by a jury of their peers? That is in the Constitution. What goes on there?
It's such a great question. And it's one that I think any defense attorney faces on a fairly regular basis. And the reality is that it's not that a person who takes a case like this and who defends a case like this believes that the crime or the accused crime is something that society should deem acceptable. That's not it at all. It's instead that we have such a responsibility to check the power of the government. And what I mean by that is the government can accuse someone and take away their freedom, their liberty, and sometimes their life. We must have people that are willing to stand up and make sure that the government doesn't cheat or cut corners when they level an accusation like this. And look, while this case has received a lot of media for the absolutely horrific nature of the facts as we understand them right now, if we let the government cheat on the cases where we don't like, from a popularity standpoint, the person accused, you cannot believe for a minute that the government wouldn't cheat on the guy that doesn't have any ability to defend himself, that is less known, or on you or your family members.
True.
So it's important in every case.
All right, Nicole DeBord, as always, we're going to be relying on your expertise, I feel, a lot in the next couple of weeks once this trial gets started there in Idaho. Nicole, thanks so much. Have a good night.
Thanks for having me.